Hello friends. In this video I am going to start with a very interesting and provocative question, which is that right now let's say Yes Bank is undergoing major financial distress. Before this, many months back, ILNFS also had a financial problem. When these institutions they go bankrupt or when they are in a bad state, right, the whole of economy sort of it's terrorized. So there is a massive fear and the impact is very outsized compared to let's say if you had another company, a non-financial institution. So let us say a company which makes consumer goods, it makes apparel or furniture or toothpaste or whatever, right? If a consumer goods company goes bankrupt, it still has some impact, but it does not really shake everything apart. But when a financial services company tanks or goes down, it is a massive impact on the economy. And the question is, what is the difference between a banking and so to say a banking or a financial institution and a non-financial institution, and why are financial institutions so critical for the economy? Right? So I'm going to help you understand this in a very logical and simple manner. I'm not going to use big jargon or make it very complicated for you. So we'll understand literally the way even a child can hopefully understand. Okay. Now let's start with a very simple example. Let's first understand, what does a bank do? So a bank's job is to lend. Why does it lend? Because there are many businesses which so let's say a building, you are a builder and you are putting let's say 20-story building. Right? Now you have to invest, let us say, God knows, let's say 30 crores or 50 crores for construction. Now you may not have all that money and you are saying, okay, you know what, I can put in, say, out of 50 crores I can put in, say, 20 crores, but 30 crores I want to lend from somebody, and when I build the apartments, when I sell them, I can return the money. Right? So there are many such businesses which are looking for capital. Right? Now let's say I start a bank. Okay, and we'll go through this very carefully. Okay, so let's go slowly so you can understand this really well. I'm starting a bank, so I'll say, okay, I'm going to put 1 crore from my pocket. Now this 1 crore, we call it the equity. Right? This is the amount that I'm putting in. Okay, now I can lend that 1 crore. Let us say I'm getting 12% interest on that. So every year, what is my interest? I will get 12 lakhs interest. Fair enough. But one question I may have is, what, I'm making 12 crores. Can I make more money? So there is a way how, let us say, for every crore that I have, I'm able to borrow 5 crores from somebody else. Okay. So now I have 6 crores. I'm borrowing it, let us say, at say 10%. Okay. So I have to pay a 10% interest to the person I borrowed it from. And I lend it to somebody. Now instead of lending 1 crore, I am lending now 6 crores because I have borrowed 5 crores extra. Now just understand this. On this 5 crores, I have to pay, let's say, 10% interest. So that will be 50 lakhs annually, but I am getting 12%. So I am getting 60 lakhs, right? So I get 60 lakhs, but I have to pay only 50. So I have a net profit of additional 10 lakhs. So now my profit has gone up. When I had only 1 crore, I was lending, my profit was 12 crores. Now I have 10 crores extra, 22 crores. Seems great, right? So if I'm a bank, what should I do? I should borrow as much as I can and then try to lend it at a higher interest rate. There is a problem. What is the problem? The problem is that every time I take money, I have an obligation to pay money at 10%. And then I take and lend it to somebody else. Now, if that guy, if I lend it to let's say a builder, and that builder defaults, why might he default? It's, he constructs, 20-story building, there are 200 apartments, but people are not buying. Now he doesn't have money, so he doesn't pay me. Now I have a problem. Why? Because I have to pay, now that I was expecting 60 lakhs, but that 60 lakhs never came to me. Maybe I got only say 30 lakhs, but I have to pay this guy from whom I borrowed, I have to pay him 50 lakhs. So say let's assume I got 30 lakhs, but I have to pay 50, which means what happened? Now I suffered a loss of 20 lakhs. You might say, okay, that's fine, that's bad enough, but that's bank's problem. But here is why it becomes everybody's problem. Let me explain. So now I am a bank, as I discussed, I am borrowing 5 times the amount of money that I am putting in here, or that what is called the equity. Now out of the crore I put, I suffered a loss of 20 lakhs. So I have only 80. And I am borrowing, let's say, 5 times whatever money I have, which means now I cannot borrow 5 crores. Now how much will I borrow? I will borrow only, say 5 times, so 5 times 80, that's 4 crores, so I can borrow only 4 crores. So now what happened is, even though, and just look at this very carefully, right? Earlier I was able to lend 6 crores, right? 1 plus 5. Now because I lost 20 crores, my ability to lend has gone down by how much? So first of all, I've lost 20, right? So that 20 goes, and then here instead of 20 into 5, yeah. So now I have 80 crores and I'm borrowing 4. So I'm basically able to lend only 4.8 crores. So essentially, my my ability to lend went down by 6 times. Once again, when I lost 1 rupee, as a bank, my ability to lend goes down by 6 rupees, right? So which means banks act as a multiplier when it comes to lending. That is why when a bank loses money, the impact on society is 6 times or 10 times or 15 times. Let me take the example of the 2008 banking crisis we had, or credit crisis we had in the US. Again, you may not know all the details, but very broadly, something very similar happened. A lot of banks, they were lending for housing, etc., and they lost a lot of money. And here I gave, in the example I gave, it was a fictitious example. I said, okay, for every 1 rupee, I am borrowing 5 rupees. There, banks are borrowing like 15 times, not even 5 times. So which means if the bank loses 1 rupee, in the US at that time, their ability to, or in the case of US, let's say $1, their ability to lend would go down by a factor of 15 or 16, right? So bank has got a huge role in the society and in the economy, and the impact gets multiplied by a factor of 5 or 10 or 15, depending on what is the ratio in which they are borrowing money. But this is not the only reason. There are a couple of other reasons. One, if you have a bank where people are where retail investors, as we call them, as individuals are depositing money, if the bank does not have money, they will not be able to pay their money. Now all these people who have put their life savings in my bank, now they are going to be in problem, and that will create a massive chaos. As an example, let's say somebody had put money, now if I can't pay him money, he does not have enough money. Now he was planning to, let us say next month, he was planning to buy a TV. He doesn't have money. What does he do? He will not buy a TV. He'll cut short on a vacation. He will not buy new clothes. Now demand for all those things will come down. Now the factories and companies which are producing those things, their demand goes down, so their profit goes down. Their profit goes down, they'll not be able to pay all their employees as well. So this thing just multiplies, right? This is also not enough. There are further reasons. What are other reasons? There's one other reason, which is that banks and financial institutions, they have a lot of financial transactions with other companies. So as an example, I could have borrowed money not just from individual investors, I could have borrowed from other banks or from other insurance companies, or from anybody who's willing to borrow. I could have borrowed money from many of them. Now if I am suddenly bankrupt, now all those guys who are looking for money, now I can't honor my obligations, right? This can go further. There are, but I don't want to make it very complicated. Like in the US, when these companies, they had a lot of financial instruments they were holding, where they had obligations or somebody else had obligations. And when you withdraw one party, I'll give a simple analogy. Let's say there are 2 people, and one guy lends to the other. If this guy runs away, now this guy is expecting some money to come, but it will not come to him, right? And now there's not just one guy. Imagine there are thousands of people like that, right? So that is another reason why. So banks have a lot of financial transactions, and they are a counterparty in each of those transactions. If they go, then all those transactions, they become challenging. When these things happen, people get fearful, right? And when they get fearful, the fear spreads. Like I gave an example, people will stop spending. When they stop spending, demand goes down, everything will start slowing down, and that can even lead to an economy going into recession. Again, I'm simplifying it, but that's a broad idea. Whereas if, let's say if Godrej Godrej, I shouldn't take any specific name, let's say any company which is a, say, consumer company, a non-financial services company, if it's making some physical product, if that company goes bankrupt, that also has an impact. But that impact is not multiplied by a factor of 5 or 10, right? And that is why financial services institutions, when they go bankrupt, there is a outsized, many times higher impact on the society. Right? So I hope you found this useful, and whenever you have this discussion, it could be in an interview board, it could be when talking to friends in the evening. If you are able to discuss, and you and your friends, we are able to talk about all these things, it will lead to a lot more interesting discussion. And in an interview panel, if you are able to present these kind of insights and and deeper understanding, I'm sure you leave them a lot more impressed, right? So thank you for watching, and thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Thank you.